Hello and welcome to the video. I'm Jim Driver, and today I've got to make a video that's even more personal than usual. A couple of days ago, the legendary guitarist Steve Cropper died, and the news hit me a little harder than I was expecting. Not just because he was one of the greatest and most influential guitarists of all time, which he absolutely was, but because I'd met him and liked him as a person. I worked with Steve several times over the years, from the 1980s right up until a few years ago. I put him on stage at venues like the Cricketers at Kennington Oval, the 100 Club in Oxford Street in London, Dingwalls, Camden Town, and at my last ever Rhythm Festival in Bedfordshire. Coincidentally, I was wearing the t-shirt from that festival when I heard about his death. And I've got it around here somewhere. Well, can't find it now, but it's around somewhere. Steve Cropper was more than a guitarist. He was a gentleman, a craftsman, and a cornerstone of something huge. Something that still echoes through music today. In this video, I'm going to tell you about that and about my small part in the Steve Cropper story. So don't go away, there's plenty to see. Steve Cropper was the guitar backbone of the mighty Booker T and the MGs, the house band for Stax Records, throughout the 1960s and early 1970s.
Ooh, I'm loving you. Oh, too long.
Stax wasn't just another small record label, it was a cross-racial, cross-cultural musical revolution. People across racial lines working together in Memphis, creating raw, furious soul, R&B and early funk that genuinely changed the world. Remember, this was the early 1960s. Tennessee was still deeply segregated and racism was embedded in the system. Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated in Memphis in 1968. So that was the environment Stax Records had to work in. Incidentally, I don't know if you know, but the name Stax comes from combining the first two letters of its owner's surnames, Jim Stewart and Estelle Axton. S-T-A-X, you see? Not a lot of people know that.
Come on, Steve. Yes, sir. I'm a soul man, baby. I'm a soul man.
Steve Cropper helped write and define the sound that backed legends like Otis Redding, Sam & Dave, Wilson Pickett, Eddie Floyd, and many more. He was also the Stax A&R man from 1961 onwards, and he discovered most of the great Stax recording artists who arrived after Rufus and Carla Thomas. The Stax Cropper sound was raw, greasy and real. It had guitar drive, horn stabs, soul grit and simple, honest lyrics. It was a soundtrack of civil rights era America, full of pain, hope, joy and dance. And that sound travelled. It inspired rock bands, soul musicians, punk bands and rock and rollers throughout the world.
What do you want? She can give.
Without Cropper and Stax Records, we might never have southern rock guitar or later soul rock crossovers or that deep Memphis groove that influenced generations. By the way, every musical legend you can think of is already subscribed to this channel, so why don't you join them? Like it, share it and comment to help spread this slice of musical history. Thank you. Now back to Steve Cropper and the music. I booked Steve Cropper live several times over the years. The first time was when he was back in Eddie Floyd, the first time he came over to the United Kingdom, sometime in the 1980s, and they needed a warm-up quickly, and I put him on at the Cricketers. Now, at the time, I didn't really know who Steve Cropper was. I wasn't even that clear who Eddie Floyd was, to be perfectly honest. When they started playing the songs Knock on Wood, Midnight Hour, Can't Turn You Loose, It was obvious who he was, and I didn't even realise at the time that Steve Cropper had written most of those songs, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. The last time I put Steve Cropper on was he was playing with the Animals, which was a touring band who basically featured John Steele, who was the original drummer with the Animals. Of course, they did all the Steve Cropper hits, all the Stax greats, plus, of course, House of the Rising Sun, and one or two more songs that the Animals had done. And again, I didn't get much chance to watch it because obviously when you're organising a music festival, you just can't stand there and watch. Though I did catch about half an hour and it was fantastic. In my career, I have worked with probably, I'd say, 10 people who I would say were absolute legends, and Steve Cropper is definitely one of those.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes.
One thing I did notice was that Steve Cropper treated everyone with the same respect and intensity he'd shown Otis Redding or Wilson Pickett. He wasn't going through the motions to earn a fast buck. He genuinely loved what he was playing, and he treated every show with absolute professionalism. Steve Cropper wasn't just a myth on vinyl. He was flesh, guitar, sweat and soul. As real at the Rhythm Festival in Biggleswade as he had been in 1960s at Memphis. So what can we do to honour the memory of Steve Cropper? If you've never really explored the Stax Records sound, start now. Listen to albums like Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs, Otis Blue by Otis Redding, Soul Limbo by Booker T. These are raw soul classics at their absolute finest. Plus, a few years ago, HBO made a fantastic 4-part documentary series about Stax called Soulville, USA.
I came to Stax Records because of that sound. Isaac Hayes, Sam and Dave, Carla Thomas, Otis Redding.
It was full of the music and interviews with all the key players, including Steve. You can watch it in the UK if you are a subscriber to Sky TV or Now. Steve Cropper's guitar playing was simple but perfect, sharp, biting, but always soulful. If you care about music history, share the story, pass it on. Legends like Cropper, real legends, not just big names, deserve to be remembered. If you like this kind of deep dive, hit subscribe. It helps keep the stories alive. Drop a comment below with your favourite Stax or Cropper track, and I promise I'm going to read everyone and reply to as many as I possibly can. And if you've got your own memories, maybe you saw him live too, post them. I'd love to hear what you think and your experiences. Thanks for watching. Thanks for remembering. Goodbye. And here's to Steve Cropper, a true soul legend. He will not be forgotten. Goodbye.